How you doing? This is Spring Piston Rifle Fever. This is part 2 of the Hatsan 125. I reinstalled the old piston seal that has a slight gouge on it because I don't feel like messing with anything else anymore. I'm just going to take a little bit of moly grease on here. And I already cleaned out some of the moly grease on the inside. I didn't clean it all out. Many are probably saying you need to clean it all out. It needs to be perfectly clean, but I don't believe that. Because once you start shooting these rifles, when this piston seal goes flying forward and slams home over and over again, that grease is going to get moved forward. So I already cleaned some of it out. I just used my dowel rod that I couldn't find earlier, and I compressed everything and pushed it up in there. So I deburred. Let me show you all this. I actually deburred all this area in here, every hole that is in here, to prevent your piston seal from getting gouged. You put it in there. If you just kind of wiggle it back and forth is what you want to do. Once you have it deburred, it should be able to go in pretty easy. You take your time, rotate it, and it easily makes it past the first areas there. So make sure your cocking slot is going to be lined up perfect also. Then I'm going to take my handy dandy push pull and I'm going to slowly push this down to right to there. And then I'm going to take something like this punch and I'm going to push on that piston seal so it doesn't get caught right here at the very end. So this piston seal is nice and flexible, so I can do this. This piston seal fits way better than this aftermarket one right here that I bought. This is one of the more expensive ones. I don't remember exactly what their name is, like DNL or something like that. So I got my piston in there, and you can possibly see that it's slightly off a little right here. So I'm just going to line it straight up better. So this one's going to get way more power. It moves in there way better. You do not want overly tight piston seals inside your piston. I read through the forums a little bit, and one guy said, oh yeah, anything shooting over, I think he said 20 foot-pounds of energy, I'm not sure, it should be very snug. Well, snug to a point, not so snug that it's not going to work the way it should work. Actually, I'm going to pull this back. I need to put moly right on the end. I didn't do that. I always like to have the end of this have some moly on it, the very end part. So this is where I get really greasy and everything. There's already some moly in the compression too, but I want to make sure that everything's done right. You don't remember every step you do, go back and repeat it. It's going to be worth it. You don't want headaches of dealing with stuff that's not working the way you want it to work. So take my dowel that you can't see when I have it straight up and down. Oh, it went right past that without even trying, that little spot. So I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to show all this. I figured I would try. So once you get all that in there, next thing you're going to do is put your barrel back on. So there's a couple of washers here that have to go on both sides of the barrel. And you may need your punch to line up the holes a little bit. But you can't line up the holes while you're trying to put your inserts in. And there is a definite lip on these. Run your finger against it and you can tell where it is. The lip side definitely goes down. So slide that in there like so. Take your punch and slide it into position better. If that one's too fat, then get a smaller punch or a screwdriver. Just be careful that you don't over push stuff and wreck stuff. So I'm going to put my bolt in next. I need to make sure this is lined up a little bit better. Everything can be a little fiddly when you're working on these air guns. Yeah, that's not where it needs to be yet. There's one reason why I don't like making these videos. They're not, everything doesn't go super easy, simple always. So I'm just trying to line things up here. I get this bolt in first. There we go. It's going to make it easier for putting the washer in on the other side because it's already got something to help the barrel be aligned. Just make sure that it's not coming out too far on this side. So give it a little tap down. Take your washer, remember the lip side down, which catches your finger. Slide that up under. And I think it still needs to go down a tiny bit more. There we go. More further. Just have to lift it up a little bit. Guide it into position. Make sure that it is where it needs to be. Do not want to gouge anything. So it's right where it needs to be right now. And I got a little bit bigger screwdriver here. It's definitely not perfect, but you should have a screwdriver that fits perfectly. This is not, so I do not suggest that you use it. I have used blue Loctite on this several times over. I think I will put a little bit of blue Loctite in there to help it keep it from backing out. I know it has a nut thing there, but I like putting just a little bit in here. Blue Loctite is a spring piston rifle or gas ram piston rifle's friend. So I'm just letting that blue Loctite sit in there a little bit and moving it around so it's down into the threads, wiggling it a little bit, turning back around. I'm going to screw it down here. Talking fast and trying to do everything fast so I can get everything done on camera so I don't run out of film time. If your hands are slippery from your lube, use a little extra help here and cinch that down. It has a little screw spot in here to get to, right there. So I need to back it up just a tiny bit. And if the camera picks it up, there is a little cutout right there, and that's where your screw is going to need to go. I also will use a little blue Loctite on this little screw. And hopefully the grease from my hands don't negate what I am trying to do. So just a teeny tiny bit. Also, I suggest you wear plastic gloves to keep from getting contaminated with this stuff. Put my little screw in there. Get it down there, and I'm just going to apply a little pressure and cinch it down a little bit. Don't do it too hard. You do not want to strip everything out and be upset that you screwed up your rifle. Close that back up. I don't know if I'm going to get filmed everything on here that I want to get filmed. I kind of talk fast when I'm doing this. Alright, so next off we are going to put the spring and spring guide in. This just has molly grease on it. Some people are going to tell me I should be using heavy tar. I'm saying I want full maximum power out of this guy. So put that in there like so. And I have a spring, homemade spring clamp here that I've had on other videos. I'm going to move some stuff to the side. Like I said, there's many other videos on this stuff, so mine are definitely not going to be the best. See if I can do this without bumping my camera. So I'm going to put that guy there. And I have to use 2 blocks to make this fit, and I have one that has a cutout notch in there to help fit the end block. So what you want to do is you want to get your rear screw close. This is something that usually takes me quite a while to get perfect. So I need to back this up a little bit more. I need to turn that around. Yep. Nope. Jeez. Doing and talking do not mix well with me. So now I got 3 holes right here. This really stinks. You're not seeing this very well. See if I can do this without shutting the camera off. So those holes right there, they're going to have to line up perfectly, exactly. So it's going to take some finagling once you push this in here to make it work right. And this is major sucky. Maybe I'll move that right there. So, this is something I do not recommend. Mike Ellingsworth, who I used to think his name was pronounced Inglesworth, but apparently it's Ellingsworth. So I want to take my time bringing this in together here like this. This is something, oops, there goes my little thing I don't want to go moved. That's right there, I see it. So as I put this in, I'm going to take one of my punches that is a more close fit. See, staying organized is really important. And finagling this, just kind of teeter-tottering it back and forth to where I want it. Yeah, I don't advise anybody to actually do this. If you want to do it, do it. This is how I do it. Yeah, it could be dangerous, definitely. Anytime you're doing something mechanically, it's dangerous, and there's better ways to do stuff than what I'm doing it. So I can see that this moved a little bit, so I'm going to give it a little teeter-totter action. There we go. So I'm getting close to the end. That's really close right there. I'm going to see if I can get this pin in. If I can, happy day. I might have to compress this a little bit more. So you can see I'm keeping pressure on these blocks so something don't go flying away. And this pin should go in relatively easy. It shouldn't be that hard. I might not, oh my goodness, have it where I want it. There we go. Like I said, I don't advise anybody to do anything the way I do it. I'm just doing it. So my pin is going in now. Do not force anything in. That's the great way to break things. So it should be like that when you're done. I got my trigger assembly here on the table with a little homemade nut thing that I made to keep it together, help it fit together better. So we're 13 minutes in. I don't even know if I'm going to have enough time to do this. Move these blocks out of the way. So I got that in there. Next off is going to be your trigger assembly. So here's my trigger assembly, and I don't want to mess with having to take it apart or anything like that. So there is my little homemade not nut, but pin. It's just made from a bolt. So this is just going to drop in here like so. Like so. You don't have things on camera, it's not even worth having a video over. So I'm trying to have everything on camera here the way I would like it to be. Put these pins back in. If they don't go in too easy, then you might not have it right where you want it. It's just not going in exactly right. So do not force stuff. It's the way you break stuff. All right. Something is not exactly right. There we go. It's a little better. Where's that other punch at? Like I said, this is why I don't like making these videos. It's Not always easy. And if something's not fitting right, it might be because it's not sitting right. Give that a tap. It should go in. There we go. I get real nervous about forcing stuff in. Like that. It's not going in for some reason. It must not be exactly right. Which is weird. It should be going in pretty easy. A little chunk of metal came out there. Oh, look in here. It looks like it should go right in, no problem. I don't know what the deal is. I tap the trigger down a little bit. There we go. That was it. The trigger wasn't sitting exactly flush like I'd like it to. So I'm not using any plastic bottle shim guide on here because the guide would just be too tight to make it fit, to make it work. So I want to get these pins perfect down here. I don't want to just say that's good enough. So I get it back together. Oops. Light tap is better. So we're right there right now. Now I need to push this pin out. And because, oops, there's a pin starting to want to fall out on me. They move around a little bit. So I'm going to push that one out right there. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to do this. Definitely doesn't go as fast as you would like. So there's my little homemade pin pushed out. Now I'm going to put this rear bolt back in. I'm going to add a little extra blue Loctite on this. There we go with that. Get my extra big screwdriver. I'm going to screw this in. You forget any one thing, it's not going to work so well. These screws, and you hit a wall, that's it. That's all the further they're going to go, and you don't want to push any further. So next off, I'm going to put my safety back in. There's my safety. It's just going to come right through at an angle, like so. And then I'm just going to get it all the way up in here, and I'm just going to push a little bit. And lift and move, and I just pop it into place, literally. So there. Okay, now I'm going to put this arm back in, this guy. So this is going to need to go in there like so, and then come back, just like so. And I'm going to have to push this pin back that I got in the way. Not too far, because you don't want to pop the whole thing out again. And this spring here is always kind of in the way. So I'm going to just provide a little tappy tap resist or effort right here. Things don't always work perfectly, that's for sure. I'm going to push this little pin down here. It's in the way. Anything that's in the way, just push it down and get it out of the way. There we go. There we go. There we go. If things aren't moving, you just got to move stuff out of the way and make them fit. That's it for that. All I have left to put on is the stock. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that on camera. I've already eaten up enough time here. So that's that. Make sure those pins are sitting right. These pins are fairly loose and you don't want them falling out. You don't want to have a headache. Watch more Mike Ellingsworth stepping stone triggers, and there's a few other really good trigger videos that you can check out. But if you like this video a little bit at all, please give me a like, question, comment, subscribe. God bless everyone. I'll show more chronograph numbers on this with the factory made breech seal and not the aftermarket ones that they say are Hatsan breech seals. God bless. Have a great day.